Okay.
That's not true for consultant contracts and stuff like that. Our negotiation power is quite broad when it comes to that. We're putting out RFQs for those types of services, but when it's a public works contract, it is far more restricted, and generally speaking, any changes to the RFP itself or the project would result in a rebid.
So could you not argue that construction management would be professional services opposed to public works? They're not actually turning shovels, is that right?
No, the public contract code lumps in contract construction management services with the public works project construction work. So it's within their definitions of what falls within public works. So if we're talking about what's exempt from that, it's going to be attorney services, engineering services that are exclusive to drawing and design, same with architects. It wouldn't be a hand in the actual management of the construction occurring.
Okay, well we're bound by public contract code as well, in state procurements, even public works projects. And I can say with confidence that in all of the public works projects that are taking place for my employer, they have negotiated in some cases significantly reduced costs for, say, construction of a building. But
again, the state has that flexibility too.
Yeah.
So the public contract code for the state provisions is much broader and provides much more flexibility.
Okay.
It would be nice if we had the same, if we had some reciprocity there.
Yep. Okay. That's the only comment that I have. Director?
No, you pretty much answered my question, because basically we're paying Wallace 1.9 to supervise it. They're not going to do any digging, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oversee the construction.
Overseas construction.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item?
We don't have any written public
No
comment.
public comment. Someone have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt. A motion by Director Smiley. You have a second?
Second.
You have a second by Director Sangster. Roll call, please.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0, one absent, or one vacancy, sorry.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, authorize contract change order number 13 with Fluid Resource Management and Closina Inc. in amount of $1,621,902.06 for changes to equipment to be supplied under a contract to improve efficiency, operability, and longevity of wastewater treatment facility.
So this item is review and approve change order for Fluid Resource Management, CNF, for the changes to equipment and supplies under the existing contract as change order number 13, and for the general manager to administer the contract with FRM Closina. The district initially contracted with Closina and FRM for the design, construction, installation of new membrane bioreactor for the Machado wastewater facility. In addition, the initial contract was approved for $6,894,512.30. Was for the NBR sledge handling system, which is a dry pack and UV disinfection system, assembly at the Closina plant, transportation, reassembly at our plant, installations, the slab service contract, and the cash of spare parts. Change order number 1 was approved for a little over $1.3 million, which included the headworks panels, equalization tank, grid and fine screens for each MBR unit, platform for the dry pack to protect the required chemical tanks, and an upgrade to flight pumps. In addition to the above, a separate change order was issued to allow time to Closina FRM to make up for the delays in the design phase. This change was FRM 01.1, which was a no-cost change order. A separate contract was approved for $250,231 for a course screen for the headworks from DePeron. That contract was not acted on and subsequently canceled. Through the design process, some additional equipment and long-term cost concern have come up requiring changes to design and systems to ensure that we have the best system for the operations, from the operations standpoint, but also from a cost to operate standpoint. Working with Cosina and FRM, our engineering team, several things have been proposed to reduce the overall operational cost of the plant. Those things are changing from a standard MBR to a bar closed system, a co-location of core screen with the grit and fine screens on the NBR, and removal of the remote current screen, enlarging the sludge tank platform and sludge press. All three of the above items will cost more to build, but will save money in operational costs over the life of the plant, which are expected to exceed their initial construction costs. At the time, Cosina and FRM provided initial construction costs, but due to the number of questions that were also raised that could not be answered, we were only requesting approval for the engineering design portion of the changes, so that a more accurate construction and installation cost could be developed, including all of the unknowns that we have currently. The design costs were based on 5% of the projected construction and installation cost. That was roughly $39,000. As design is completed and final equipment and design specifications are now known, FRM has provided a change order encompassing the design and equipment changes that were approved for design only under change order number 2. The attached change order outlines the additional additions and credits for the proposed changes. It should be noted that change order number 3 through 12 were submitted to the district but rejected. It is recommended that the board approve change order number 13 at a cost of $1,621,902.06 and authorize the general manager to execute change order and issue a notice to proceed with fabrication once all associated submittals and assurances are approved. The total project cost changes. The initial base contract was again $1,649,512.30, and that was in 2021. Total previously approved change orders was $8,863,790.59. This change order request is $1,621,902.06, bringing the total for this entire MBR, for the MBR, the sludge handling, the UV, all of the control panels, and the headworks, so the grit removal, to $10,091,692.65. Again, all of this is within the grant amount and will be reimbursed through the grant. Approval of this change order, and once all of the additional submittals and assurances are approved by the district, we would issue a notice to proceed on fabrication and start down that path of fabrication. Based on where we are currently with the projected budget and the grant award, this is still within that grant award. As we saw in the previous item, there is roughly $2 million in the previous item that can be shifted to this, or shifted to physical construction if that's necessary during the life of this project, if we end up having other cost overruns. Further down in this report, we have the change order from Cosina showing the additions and deletions from the last proposal to this proposal. Some of them are as minor as 32 cents. Most of them are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. One of them is $866,000. There's a lot of give and take, removing equipment, adding equipment. Based on what's being proposed right now, this is going to be the best operationally and best cost-wise for the district going forward, taking into account operations, personnel, chemical costs, and power costs going into the future. I don't know how involved you are with the one at Cal Poly, but this system is It's not identical, but it's very similar to that one.
I was involved in the purchase of that, my client campus, so I did have to learn a lot about MER, and it was a fairly lengthy process. I did run an RFP for that. So one other proposer, and I really was not a very good solution, so ultimately we didn't go that direction. You do learn a lot about it through an RFP process with something as technical as this.
We're working through our issues with the UV right now, and I've learned more about UV than I'll probably forget half of it, but I've learned more than I've ever learned in the entire time I've been an operator. So.
I'll bet. Question one, so making the changes, update to the MER unit with this change order, will it change our projected maintenance cost year over year going in the future, or will it stay basically the same?
So there'll be minor changes from what was presented to us a year ago, or not quite a year ago, just due to inflationary costs. But our overall operational costs are very similar with what is being presented and what we'd be purchasing at this point as they were 2 years ago.
Okay.
So, there is, like I said, inflationary costs that are being considered as far as the operational costs for the current year rates, but overall, going with the changes that have been made and what would be approved in this, we're actually saving money long-term. There's less actual staff time necessary. The big cost is chemical cost, mainly through carbon. Which the Barden-Po, for us, the Barden-Po basically eliminated 99% of the carbon necessary, which would have been probably in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for us per year. So, overall, this is, from what I can see and what's been provided to us, is the lowest operational cost for any of the system variations that we could possibly get from closing. This also sets us up for the future expansion by installing the tanks that would be part of that expansion. Not all the equipment would be provided, and not every tank would be provided, but we are setting ourselves up for that expansion so that they can just basically build a couple tanks, plop some equipment in, and move forward at hopefully a reasonable cost when we get to that point. That hopefully would be, in 20 plus years. And I imagine that Closina will still be around then, but
Hope so. Thank you. Questions, comments? Questions, comments?
No.
Do we have any public comment? Any written comment?
we do not have any written comment.
Okay. We will make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion by Director Sangster, second by Director Smiley. Roll call, please.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with 1 vacancy.
All right, moving on to item number 3, authorize the fire chief as the authorized representative for the annual Safer and AFG grants and apply for and manage those grants by resolution.
Could you repeat again?
So the suggested action is to review and approve the attached resolution appointing the district fire chief as a representative in all matters related to the annual Safer and AFG grant processes. Discussion is as such. The San Miguel Fire Department is responsible for providing emergency services throughout San Miguel Community Service District, the county of San Luis Obispo, and the state of California, and understands the need for adequate staffing to meet the levels of service required to service this need and the need for adequate equipment required to comply with current NFPA standards. In order to achieve the level of staff, the San Miguel Fire Department is in the process of applying for the annual Safer and AFG grant cycles. Fiscal impact is limited to staff time, and we typically seek the assistance of Aurora Williams to assist us with the grant writing process on an hourly basis. The past hourly rate was about $75 an hour, which is very reasonable for a grant writer.
Thank you. Any idea how many hours or what total investment would be required to get the grant application completed?
It's typically a 6 to 8 hour commitment. It's not much. It's very good value for her assistance and depend on her.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Federal grants are kind of a different animal to apply for.
They are more complex for sure. Any questions? No questions?
I got one thing on here. Chief, right down here, and I thought the board had already, or it was agreed on that you were not to go over 45-mile radius from the district here. And you're right here, fighting wildlife, rural structures, vehicles and other types. Whatever became of that?
I'm a bit confused.
Well, it was a meeting a few years back.
This is on the safe program.
Well, I know, this is on the safer grant, that's what I'm saying, is that I thought it was understood that you were gonna keep like a 45-mile radius. I think Director Bentley said, well, maybe up to.
Okay, so I'm on track now. So that is a direct section of my personal contract. It has nothing to do with the department's obligation to the county or the state. And the staff requirements are direct impact to the community of San Miguel 100%.
Yeah, right, yeah, that was what we talked about. I can't remember when, a while back.
With the AFG grant, that's an equipment grant, which is directly for necessary equipment. We're looking at extractors or an extractor.
Okay. All right. Any public comment? Nothing? Any written comment?
There is none for this item.
Okay. I would make a motion to approve. I'll second it.
So we have a motion by Director Sangster, second by Director Beatty.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with one vacancy.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at board comment. I do have something. Throughout this whole week, with all of the concern about whether we would approve our urgent ordinance, there was a lot of commentary throughout most of social media, and numerous of them indicate that I am opposed to our fire department, which is flatly untrue. I've never stated that. I've always been supportive of Scott, the fire department, his crew, his team, and appreciate the work that all of those firefighters do in this community. So, in this public setting, be it known that I 100% support the San Miguel Fire Department and their staff and Scott. Furthermore, I'm not sure what the platform is that I'm seeing this on, but when there are things that are going to be said about me specifically that are untrue, I'm going to hold the person that manages that site accountable by contacting an attorney, because most of the commentary is through people who are anonymous. And listen, if you can't post who you are, then don't say things that are derogatory about somebody else, especially someone else in a public position who's only doing this for a minimal, it's not minimal, almost nothing, based on the amount of time we put in here. And every one of these gentlemen up here are doing the same thing. They're doing all of this for your community. So if you just sit here and call people out because our opinions differ, well, then put your name on the list and get on the ballot, because I can assure you this is not a simple job. There's a lot of things to weigh, and you have to know a lot of things about spending money, running the community, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I'll appeal to those who are running those social media pages to not allow people who are anonymous to say disparaging things about people who are working for this community. Me being one of them, these other gentlemen the same. None of us deserve it. And it's generally lies and misinformation. If you have a question, you want an answer, you come up to me and ask the question. I'll give you the straight truth and the straight answer. But if you sit there and say all this crap behind my back or behind all of our backs on some social media page, I'm going to contact an attorney and hold you for defamation, including the person that manages the page. The end. Next.
I would kind of like to agree with President Sangster. My email is nothing but lies, and there's been letters written here, not only my name, other people's names, and so on. And it's a direct lies, what they're saying. So I'm with President Sangster. I'm going to be in the same boat. You know, you come after me, I'm going to come after you with an attorney. But I mean, I've even had threats, you know, people threatening to bring fireworks in front of my house and so on, light them off and so on. And there was a lady that actually had some, I don't know, two or three nights ago, came by and threw fireworks right in her front yard. You know, that's why it's so crucial that I wanted to get that on there to outlaw all fireworks, at least for one day, to see what happens, so that the fire chief and the sheriff's department and the DA can get involved and maybe we can stop this. But yeah, the social media thing, I mean, I pretty much know, even though it's anonymous, don't worry, I know who's writing all that stuff. So, that's all.
I have something, yeah. So I was on Facebook last night, I have a cousin just had a baby, so I was on there and I saw something that said if you grew up in and around San Miguel, I don't know if anybody has seen that. There's pictures of San Miguel from the 1940s and the 1950s and the 1960s of Main Street. My gosh, what a difference. I wasn't driving in the 1950s. I was only driving for part of the 60s. So I didn't come down here. I had a few friends that transferred from San Miguel to Paso Robles High School. Became very good friends of mine that were from San Miguel. But I had no idea. I mean, all the buildings that were being used at that time, being patronized, cars were parked lined up down the street. And you go down to town San Miguel, you don't see that. One thing to remain constant is that bar, Elks. Elkhorn, they were talking about carrying some guy, police were carrying some guy out of there. Anyway, they were saying in one of the articles there that they had trouble getting the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff down here for anything. So this is known as an area for hooligans, criminals, that kind of stuff in San Miguel. And I did hear that when I was growing up. I was born in Tasco, raised in Paso Robles, so I have relatives that live and own farms out east of town here. So, but there was a lot of that cloud hanging over San Miguel at that time. And I don't feel it is now. So why can't we make our Main Street better? Make our community something to be proud of, having more businesses downtown, a restaurant, nice grocery stores. We don't have to go to Paso Robles. I hate making that trip back between here and here. But anyway, if you get a chance, get on Facebook and you need to grow up in and around San Miguel Win, I think is what it's called. It's a group that has something there. And there are some good pictures. They're black and whites. And showed a hippie during the 1960s, and if anybody remembers what a hippie is, no shirt on, bell-bottom pants, strutting down in front of Elkhorn down there, down the street. So anyway, it was pretty interesting to see. I thought it might be of interest to the community to know that we were featured on that with some really nice photographs of San Miguel at the time. That's all I have.
I don't have anything to say tonight. I love our town, I really do. I have volunteered my time, my family has volunteered their time. My number one goal, you know, after moving here, we built our home here. My number one goal was to give back and do whatever I can to our home, where we live, instill into my children that, hey, you know, you don't always have to, you know, get something, you know, to give something, you know. I want my kids to know that, hey, it still pays to be kind, you know. You know, growing up in a small town, having that small town feeling, I mean, I love this place, and, you know, I wouldn't change it any other way. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Okay, closed session.
Sorry.
Can I make one more comment?
Yeah.
Hey, on the lady, now, how, and Chief Scott said, it's illegal to shoot off and put it in Spanish too.
Our website is ADA compliant in any language you'd like it in.
Super.
Which one? Pick one.
Well, no, but I mean, it should be, because like I said,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the law. You have to.
yeah, it's the law.
And we got it.
Agreed to me.
Yeah, we already got it, so.
Is there any public comment for closed session?
We have one written comment.
Okay.
They have the comments. If there's no other public.
No other public comment?
I have a public comment.
Yeah, never mind.
On the closed session item.
I was just gonna say, you know what, the buildings are gone in San Miguel, most of them burned down. The Elkhorn is burned twice. We determined that the Elkhorn is burned twice in its history, to the ground.
And that windmill used to be down there.
Windmill, that was arson.
Yeah.
And the Sonic Lodge came down in an earthquake. There's a theater down below, and the Sonic Lodge was upstairs.
All the wood structures.
So, dear board members, Steinbeck case, Brandon Gregory and John Pashong and others should stop suing the community of San Miguel. The residents are paying legal fees. Ms. Gregory and John Pashong and others have been suing San Miguel for over a decade. The public should know their former VP, president of the C.S.D. board, and the county supervisor are still suing San Miguel for water rates. This is the reason for a rate increase to cover legal fees said in many meetings and articles over the years. San Miguel C.S.D. recently passed dramatic water rate increases in its 851 customers, with water bills doubling for some households. Expenses related to quiet title litigation have been crippling for the district's books. General Manager Rob Robertson said New Times slow article defending pumping October 22nd, 2018. He used to be the fire chief and GM. Excerpt from the San Miguel Advisory Council meeting, March 18, 2026. Ms. Renee Gregory replies stating that she is part of the lawsuit at the public meeting. It is now public knowledge and should not be withheld when asked about her involvement. She said, for the record below, regarding the Steinbeck case, when the water basin was in a deficit about 15 years ago, the county made a moratorium on any new planting. Farmers in the area fought back by filing quiet title to protect their water rights. She joined the class action with over 800 other litigants, one of them being Supervisor Pashong. The trial is still ongoing today. Only 2 defendants left are Paso Robles and San Miguel. This is a huge cost to the community for over 15 years. When will this end? How much more do we have to pay to keep covering this cost? I just honestly think it's wrong to have people in a position of power sucking the small and impoverished community dry. It should be on the minds of every community member. November is coming quickly. What happens at the end of the lawsuit? What are the possible outcomes? This is not a personal attack. I just wonder how long this can continue for a small community to keep footing this large legal bill. This year alone, it was this year alone it was $50,000 in legal fees the community has to pay through their water bills. Just for this case, how much has this town paid in 15 years? It costs a lot to use water here. So it does not affect. so it does not affect me and everyone that lives in San Miguel. Please clarify if I misunderstood any of this. Since it's been very, very hard to get any information about this topic, thank you, Sean, San Miguel resident. And that's it.
Okay.
Or now we close?
Yes, I assume that the legal you will provide a response.
Pardon me?
Just ongoing litigation.
There were a lot of questions in there. Just, was there a specific one you wanted me to address? Because there were a few that would not be litigation privileged, I think.
We'll send it to you.
If you could answer the ones that aren't privileged, that would be great.
I don't have that comment in front of me, and it was very long, so.
We'll send it to you, Christina.
Yeah.
So, I'll have Kelly sum it up, so it's not up to us.
Yeah, these two all go on the website tomorrow too.
Adjourned.
It's a close session.
It's a closed session.
8:09.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, we're already on.
I can move that if you want, Mark.
Lots of cool. Lots of engines.
I know. I
I would say it has nothing about being brave.